Have you ever caught yourself hurrying through something even when there is no real deadline pressing you? Not because you're running late, but because moving slowly somehow feels uncomfortable. Your body may be asking for a calmer pace. Your schedule may no longer be as demanding as it once was, yet an inner voice keeps urging you forward, insisting there is always more to do and never enough time. For many people, this feeling is the result of a lifetime spent moving at full speed. For decades, they absorbed the belief that worth is measured by productivity, that rest must be justified, and that slowing down means losing ground. As the years pass and life naturally begins to soften its demands, the body adapts more easily than the mind. The mind often continues following old patterns long after they have stopped serving us. But what if slowing down is not a sign of decline? What if it is one of life's greatest opportunities? Through the wisdom of Buddhist teachings, we can discover why constant rushing robs us of peace, and why embracing a gentler rhythm may be one of the most rewarding choices we can make during this chapter of life. From childhood onward, many of us are conditioned to believe that success comes from doing more, achieving more, and staying constantly occupied. Modern culture celebrates busyness. We often admire those who are always working, always improving, and always pursuing the next accomplishment. Gradually, we begin to tie our sense of value to the amount we produce and achieve. The challenge is that this mindset rarely disappears on its own. Even when retirement arrives or physical changes naturally encourage a slower pace, the mind may still operate as if it is racing toward another goal. Many people continue filling every available moment with responsibilities, projects, and commitments because stillness feels unfamiliar. When there is nothing demanding their attention, feelings of discomfort, restlessness, or guilt can quickly emerge. Yet the Buddha offered a different perspective. He taught that endless striving is not the path to lasting contentment. A life packed with activity is not automatically a life filled with meaning. Being busy does not guarantee happiness. In many cases, constant motion quietly separates us from the very experiences that nourish the soul: gratitude, self-reflection, presence, and genuine inner calm. As we grow older, we are given a valuable chance to reconsider long-held beliefs. Must our worth always be proven? Do we really have to earn the right to rest? The greatest obstacle is often not the body's slower pace. It is the mind's continued insistence that it must constantly perform, achieve, and validate its existence. As long as that belief remains unquestioned, peace can feel frustratingly distant. When the urge to rush persists even after life has become quieter, it may be helpful to ask a deeper question. What is this urgency truly trying to avoid? Often, the need to stay busy has little to do with productivity. Instead, it can serve as a distraction from emotions and thoughts we have postponed facing. When external noise fades, loneliness may become more noticeable. Concerns about aging may rise to the surface. Questions about the future may no longer be easy to ignore. This is why busyness can become deeply ingrained. As long as our attention remains occupied by tasks and responsibilities, we avoid sitting alone with our thoughts. We postpone confronting the reality that life is evolving and that change is unavoidable. Over time, many people build their entire sense of self around the roles they perform. They identify as providers, workers, caregivers, achievers, or problem solvers. These identities offer direction, purpose, and meaning. However, as circumstances shift, some of those roles naturally become less central. According to Buddhist teachings, one of the primary roots of suffering is attachment, or upadana. While attachment is often associated with possessions or relationships, it can also take the form of clinging to an image of ourselves. We hold tightly to who we once were, the dependable person, the capable person, the one everyone relied upon. When that self-image begins to change, the sense of loss can run surprisingly deep. Perhaps what hurts is not simply the passing of youth. Perhaps it is the fading of the identity that youth supported, the feeling of being needed, the satisfaction of being productive, the confidence that came from always being able to do more. The Buddha pointed toward a different path, not a life of withdrawal, and certainly not one of laziness, but a gradual and compassionate release of the expectations and identities we carry. By loosening our grip on who we believe we must be, we create space to discover who we truly are beneath those labels. If holding on to an outdated identity creates suffering, then what alternative leads to peace? The Buddha answered this question through one of his most practical teachings, the middle way. True peace does not exist at either extreme. It is not found in abandoning life altogether, nor is it found in relentless striving and endless effort. It emerges through balance. One of the clearest examples of this principle is the Buddhist concept of right effort. Effort is often misunderstood. Many people assume that greater effort automatically produces better outcomes. Yet right effort is not about pushing harder or doing more. It is about taking the necessary action without carrying the weight of fear, anxiety, pressure, or the constant need to prove your worth. Think about the difference between moving through life and racing through it. Both involve taking action, yet the experience is entirely different. Purposeful movement comes from intention and awareness. Rushing, on the other hand, is fueled by tension and the feeling that something is always demanding immediate attention. One keeps you grounded in the present, the other constantly drags your thoughts toward what comes next before you've fully experienced what is happening now. A similar contrast exists between concern and anxiety. Genuine concern arises from care, compassion, and responsibility. Anxiety is rooted in fear and the desire to control outcomes that may never be within our control. One creates stability and clarity, while the other consumes energy and peace of mind. As the years pass, understanding this difference becomes increasingly valuable. Life may still include obligations, relationships, and aspirations that matter deeply. Buddhist wisdom does not suggest turning away from these responsibilities. Instead, it encourages meeting them with mindfulness and balance rather than urgency and pressure. Picture yourself taking a walk with no need to hurry toward a destination. Imagine completing a simple chore while giving your full attention to the task instead of mentally jumping ahead to everything else waiting to be done. Imagine sitting with someone you care about and listening with complete presence rather than preparing your next response. These moments may seem ordinary, but they are powerful expressions of mindful living. One of the hidden blessings of growing older is the opportunity to reconnect with the natural pace of life itself. Nature never rushes. A tree grows according to its own timing. A seed unfolds gradually into something magnificent. The seasons arrive and depart without force or resistance. Spring does not race towards summer, and winter never apologizes for arriving. Everything follows its own unfolding process. Human beings are part of that same natural world. Yet many spend years resisting the body's changing needs. As we age, our bodies often call for additional rest, greater patience, and a softer rhythm. Rather than viewing these changes as limitations, we can choose to see them as guidance. Life is not demanding that we stop participating. It is inviting us to participate differently. Transformation does not require dramatic action. Often, the most meaningful changes emerge through small, consistent acts of awareness. Eating slowly allows us to experience nourishment more fully. A mindful stroll reveals beauty that may have gone unnoticed for years. Quiet moments in nature reconnect us to a wisdom that existed long before our worries and will remain long after them. It is equally important to pay attention to what fills the mind. Every day, countless distractions compete for our attention: headlines, notifications, messages, and endless streams of information. The human mind was never meant to process a constant flood of stimulation. Buddhist teachings remind us that awareness deepens in stillness, and that insight emerges when mental clutter begins to settle. Many people worry that slowing down will make life feel dull or empty. Yet, in reality, the opposite often occurs. When we stop rushing from one moment to the next, we begin noticing details that were always there. We become more aware of beauty, emotion, connection, and gratitude. We experience life more deeply because we are finally present enough to receive it. It may be that as your external life becomes simpler, your inner world gains greater richness. What once appeared to be a slowing down may actually be the beginning of a deeper awakening. As people move into later stages of life, thoughts naturally turn toward the impact they will leave behind. Many assume that legacy is defined by accomplishments, achievements, or visible success. Yet when others remember us, they rarely focus on how busy we were. More often, they remember the feeling of being around us. Today's world places tremendous pressure on younger generations. Many carry heavy burdens of stress, uncertainty, and the persistent belief that they should always be doing more. In such an environment, a calm and grounded elder becomes something extraordinarily valuable. Their presence alone demonstrates another way of living. The Buddha taught that inner freedom reveals itself naturally. Someone who has let go of unnecessary struggle carries a quiet strength that speaks louder than words. Such individuals do not need to preach or persuade. Their peace communicates the lesson on its own. This may be one of the greatest gifts available during this chapter of life. These years do not need to be defined by loss or decline. They can become a period of profound growth, a season in which the need for recognition fades and the desire for deeper understanding expands. Perhaps life is no longer asking you to accumulate more achievements or pursue endless accomplishments. Perhaps it is inviting you to embody qualities that have become increasingly rare in the modern world: patience, presence, wisdom, and calm. In the end, the most powerful legacy may not be found in what you built or how much you achieved. It may be found in the peace you shared, the comfort you offered, and the example you set simply through the way you lived. The world will always present another reason to rush. There will always be more tasks to complete, more concerns to think about, and more pressure to believe you have not done enough. Yet Buddhist wisdom reminds us that peace is not a reward waiting somewhere in the future. It exists right here, within this moment, available to anyone willing to pause long enough to recognize it. This stage of life is not asking for less from you. It is asking for something entirely different. Not speed, but depth. Not constant activity, but meaningful presence. Not constantly doing, but deeply being. Not spending your days trying to earn value, but recognizing that your value has always existed within you. The gift of embracing a slower pace is not that your world becomes less meaningful. It is that the things that truly matter come into sharper focus. What once seemed ordinary reveals its depth, and what once felt urgent loses its hold. Clarity replaces pressure, and appreciation replaces the endless need to keep up. And perhaps, years from now, when you reflect on the path you've traveled, the moments that stand out will not be the milestones you reached or the goals you checked off. Instead, you may cherish the times you were fully present, the relationships you nurtured, the beauty you noticed, and the peace you allowed yourself to experience. One of the greatest blessings of growing older is realizing that life was never a race to be won. The calm, fulfillment and freedom you were searching for were never waiting somewhere ahead. They were available in each moment all along. If this reflection resonated with you, consider supporting the channel by liking this video, subscribing for more content, and sharing it with someone who may benefit from this message today.